Hey, what's going on, people? Your boy, man, Mike, coming at you guys with yet another Atlanta Falcons video. This is an interesting topic because a lot of people are wondering whether or not this Atlanta Falcons offense is going to get back to where we think they can. All right. We have Raheem Morris, who obviously was hired as the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, and he has a long history not only playing against the Atlanta Falcons when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the head coach there, as a defensive guy. You have a guy in, you know, when he was with the Los Angeles Rams, but more importantly, a guy that was instrumental in helping this team in its entirety get to the Super Bowl when he was hired as the assistant head coach, wide receiver coach, and a little bit on the defense side of the ball. So Raheem Morris has he definitely has experience as far as this Atlanta Falcons coaching and team is concerned. This guy knows his football. I don't think anybody can deny whether or not he's a motivational guy. One of the things, under Arthur Smith that I believe that a lot of players they lost touch with is these guys just weren't motivated. For whatever reason, these guys weren't motivated. You have a lot of guys that were talented, and myself included, when as it pertains to the Atlanta Falcons, we believe personally, due to the nature of how Dan Quinn, he came in and he made these guys um as what most might say soft. All right, guys like Julio Jones, they did not have to practice. They did not have to do much to earn. They did not have to earn their spot. Oftentimes, these guys did not practice. We know for Julio Jones, for a good 2 to 3 year period under Dan Quinn, Julio did not have to practice, and in turn, that turned and gave these guys, a sense of entitlement. So we thought that hiring Arthur Smith, a guy who was tough, he was hard nosed, that the Falcons team would respond well to that, and they just did not respond well to it at all. Not only the fans, former players came in and said from the very beginning that Arthur Smith was a fake tough guy. Now that's up for debate. I don't believe that he was a fake tough guy, but I do believe that Arthur Smith came in with an idea of it's going to be his way or no way at all, and you're going to play, and it was just just straight up discipline, and not a whole lot of getting to know these guys on a more personal level. Now I think there's a fine line with coaches and players where players have to like their coach. I think to a certain extent, your players have to like your coach, but more importantly, they have to respect. And I think that's one of the things when you look at Arthur Smith, the players just lost respect for him. The things that he stated, the things that he did. You had say guys who, he would say things like, "Oh, we won't play musical chairs at quarterback position," and we're gonna run. We're gonna stick with whoever the guy is. We're gonna stick with Desmond Ritter. We're gonna stick with Taylor Heineken. We're not gonna play musical chairs. Well, he did the complete opposite of that. So a lot of players just lost respect for him. So me personally, I think why I'm making this video about Kyle Pitts is because I believe Kyle Pitts is one of those main guys, especially when you have him being drafted number 4 overall. A lot of people saw the potential that he was able to um you saw the level and the potential that he could possibly be under Matt Ryan. He had a Pro Bowl year under Matt Ryan. But for whatever reason, that second year, Arthur Smith decided he wanted to go completely away from that he used Kyle Pitts more of a deep threat, a deep guy. I don't necessarily believe that that was the right move, and we saw that, you know. So again, the Falcons lost respect for Arthur Smith, and they lost, you know, confidence in the vision that he was able to, you know, quote unquote, to, you know, to put out. So the reason why I think, you know, this Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be extreme, and I mean extremely. Um, this is something that I believe that the Atlanta Falcons, and I have a couple tips for you guys to kind of give you an idea of the reasoning behind it. So they have to believe the Atlanta Falcons and Kyle Pitts, man. This Falcons offense has the potential to be the NFL's best offense. And I truly mean this because of the weapons, and none more important, in my opinion, than Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is one of those guys, man. You can put him on the inside, put him on the outside, and he's going to dominate. He's going to be a matchup problem for a lot of defenders. Not only safeties, linebackers. Look, DBs are too small, safeties are too slow, cornerbacks are too small, linebackers are too, you know, these guys are too slow. So he's just a matchup nightmare. So if you get the Atlanta Falcons to get the most out of a Kyle Pitts, this is what can happen. So the first one I have for you guys is the tight ends. The tight ends for the Atlanta Falcons is going to be one of those positions you have to keep a close eye on. The Atlanta Falcons brought in a guy like Charlie Warner. You know, he played in that San Francisco 49ers offense. So, you know, the importance of not only blocking, pass protection, a guy that not only can block, but Charlie Warner is a guy, you know, going back to the University of Georgia and how Georgia used their tight ends, he's a perfect guy to be able to be a complement to Kyle Pitts. So when you have a Kyle Pitts and a Charlie Warner, guys that can do multiple things, very good, and do not underestimate how good Charlie Warner is as a receiving tight end also. Again, he's one of the better blocking. He played in that Kyle Shanahan offense, so these guys understand the importance of play action. They understand the importance of movement and blocking. So this guy's a complete tight end. And you have Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has a long history of having great chemistry with tight ends. Last year, before his injury, Kirk Cousins was really on a pace to break a lot of NFL records. He was on the pace to get close to 5,000, or nearly 40 touchdowns. The dude was just off the chain, man. So when it all comes down to Kirk Cousins, man, his Kirk Cousins and his ability and chemistry with tight ends, you know, going back to Jordan Reed and his days with the Washington then Redskins / Commanders now. TJ Hawkinson, again, this dude was on pace to break so many records as far as his own you know, records, but he was on pace to do some good things. But his chemistry with tight ends has always been, you know, great. You know, some could say that these guys are even, you know, it's an elite. He's had an elite connection to a lot of tight ends. Probably, you could say, you know, more than wide receivers. For whatever reason, this dude just has, you know, great chemistry. He always make, you know, tight ends so much better than what they, you know, they are. Highlight their skills. Again, the Jordan Reed, TJ Hawkinson, and then you go now when you have the Atlanta Falcons, and Kyle Pitts, man, I don't think it's going to be anything different. So Kyle Pitts, man, and Kirk Cousins, that connection, I think this is going to be a really special connection and controlling the middle of the field. So the control in the middle of the field, that's one thing I went back and I looked at a lot of Kirk Cousins throws. He not only likes to throw to tight ends in the middle of the field, but he loves to throw to his wide receivers over the middle of the field. And I think this is what makes this Atlanta Falcons offense so dangerous, having a quarterback that is not afraid to make those throws over the middle. There are often times in the Atlanta Falcons games where not only Des Murder, but a guy like Taylor Heineke, these guys were gunshot. These guys weren't able to make those tough throws over the middle and particularly down the field. And this is where Kirk Cousins excelled. And I think this is where Kyle Pitts is going to be a major problem for the defense, and particularly the linebackers and the safeties. Okay, we're going to get into the safeties. But I think in this particular moment, Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins' connection is going to be huge. And I think this is going to help this Atlanta Falcons offense become the best offense in the NFL. I really believe that the Falcons, if they can cultivate and continue to improve the connection with Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins, keep Kirk Cousins healthy, this Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be an absolute monster and controlling the middle of the field. This is what I love most about what I see with Kirk Cousins. He is not afraid to throw the ball deep down the middle of the field. He attacks the safeties with his, not only with the wide receivers, but with the tight ends. He will make that throw. He has excellent touch on the ball downfield in the middle of the field. That's something that Kirk Cousins does well. He has great touch and throwing those post routes, those slant routes, attacking those safeties. So that's one thing that I believe, with the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins, that tight end connection, Charlie Warner and Charlie Warner and Kyle Pitts, is gonna kind of help Kirk Cousins dominate the middle of the field. And continuing the middle of the field, this is what makes that go even that much more dangerous, as having a guy like Tyler Allgeier. Tyler Allgeier, problem. Okay, if you've seen this guy in person, the dude is an absolute. You just look at him and he just personifies in a running back, from the shoulders, the head, the midsection, like every freaking thing about Tyler Allgeier. You can understand why this dude is, the Atlanta Falcons tone setter. He's the tone setter for the Atlanta Falcons. Guys don't like to tackle him. He's a freaking load. He runs with the purpose. He doesn't have a lot of wasted movement. I always talk about wasted movement with players. This is what Tyler Allgeier. He sees a hole, he gets there, and he does not mess around. Tyler Allgeier is that dude. So when it comes down to the Atlanta Falcons offense, controlling the middle of the field is something that they are going to make teams, the Falcons are going to have teams, have these guys, have nightmares at night, trying to control Kyle Pitts, a guy like Kirk Cousins, and Tyler Allgeier. He's that guy. Tyler Allgeier is that dude when it comes down to controlling the middle of the field. So if the Falcons on first and second down, if they can get these guys to have anywhere from 5 yards, I would say about 4 to 6 yards on first and second down, the Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be absolutely a problem. Like I said, you have a guy like Tyler Allgeier with his physicality, especially in that second to third quarter. This is where I believe the Atlanta Falcons can really make a lot of teams pay. And I believe that the Atlanta Falcons with Tyler Algier can make teams pay and open up the holes and open up the game for a guy like Bijan Robinson, who's incredibly, and I'm talking about incredibly talented himself. A lot of people don't think that he's a physical running back. That couldn't be further from the truth. But Tyler Algier, I think he's that battering ram that's going to open up the Atlanta Falcons offense. And, you know, these linebackers, these defensive linemen, keep them off of the quarterback. Keep them off of a guy like Kyle Pitts. Open it up. So the physicality, you know, you pretty much just take all their heart, their will in order to, you know, to open the game up. And I think Tyler Algier, Kirk Cousins, these guys are going to be a major they're going to be a major part. They're going to play a major part in this Atlanta Falcons offense being that much more explosive in the late in games, and they kind of pull themselves away from other teams. Because one thing that I saw last year, and we saw for the most part, is that the Atlanta Falcons did not have a lot of explosive plays late in games. Now, a lot of that had to do with the fact that you have a young quarterback, a young offensive coordinator. Well, I ain't say a young offensive coordinator because they were gone, been in the game for a while, but he fucking sucks. Okay, you have a young offensive play caller in Arthur Smith, who, you know, is still learning for the most part. How to be a full-time play caller on his own, make those decisions without somebody standing behind him. So these are the things when you look at the Atlanta Falcons offense, man. Late in games, I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be a major problem, having Bijan Robinson make the big plays in the fourth quarter where we need him. And then you have a guy like Tyler Algier, like I said before, in the second and third quarter, have him just, you know, punish these guys. Get to the fourth quarter and let open this damn playbook up and let Kirk Cousins just run away from guys and make these big plays. Because Falcons fans, I know when we in that dome get absolutely crazy when this Falcon team is scoring points. So those are the things that I see. Again, the tight ends with Kirk Cousins and his connections with tight end, Tyler Algier opening up the offense, loosening up the defense, getting those safeties, get those linebackers, them DBs, them defensive linemen off of, you know, Kyle Pitts, and let those guys catch the ball, run out the catch, and do their thing. Because again, the Atlanta Falcons, if they can open up the game in the fourth quarter and let Bijan Robinson do his thing, I think this our Falcons offense is going to be absolutely amazing. But the third one that I have is it's all about those safeties. Okay, one of the things that I saw last year was a major problem, and a lot of that had to do with the Falcons spacing. The spacing for the Atlanta Falcons offense, and particularly their route running and their route concepts, it was just fucking terrible. And one of the things I do like about Zach Robinson is that he understands spacing. Raheem Morris, he understands spacing. A lot of people are not, they don't remember that. One, Raheem Morris was the offensive pass game coordinator. So he designed the pass game for the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, 2016, 17, 18, like when he was here, he was the guy that helped design the Falcons pass game the pass game offensively, and as well when he went to the Rams, he worked with Zach Robinson to kind of help bring and kind of evolve that Rams passing attack with Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, who was out for a little while, but he ended up coming back from an injury. But when you have those two wide receivers that are heavy volume receivers, these guys can catch the ball. They do a lot of their work and yards after catch, man. I think that's something that the Atlanta Falcons will definitely, the Falcons would definitely have with Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris. These guys are very good at designing and creating space, something that Arthur Smith and Dave Ragone struggle with a lot. So the Falcons are going to have more space, not only for a guy like Kyle Pitts to do his thing, but he's going to have a lot more space for our running backs. Even a guy like Jace McKellen, who we drafted out of Alabama, he may be a guy you keep an eye on. Hey, you never know. You got a guy like Avery Williams. He's another guy you can keep your eye on as far as the running back is concerned and see how he's going to be able to come back from his torn ACL. So having a guy like Zach Robinson being able to open up the passing game and open up the space for guys like Bijan Robinson in the open field. And this is why, again, this is why I believe this Atlanta Falcons offensive line is going to get, they're going to play a huge part too in the late game explosive play. Late game explosive plays is something that I'm really going to focus on. Okay, I think we're going to be able to physically dominate a lot of teams early in games with our offensive line. We use Tyler Algier a lot earlier. And like I said, please do not underestimate the abilities of Bijan Robinson. I think a lot of people are underestimating how physical and explosive this guy is. This is exactly why he ended up going number 8 overall, is because he's physically gifted. We saw it. We saw it late in games where he was just bouncing off guys. He'll catch a ball out of the backfield and then he break 2 tackles and get in the end zone. And he walks in the end zone. He walks in the end zone on his feet, not laying down, not stumbling. He walks in the end zone after breaking a couple tackles. So a lot of people are underestimating the physical power and the physical stature of a Bijan Robinson. This dude is gifted. So when you have 2 running backs like a Tyler Algier that's going to be able to control the middle of the field, keep those linebackers honest, because those linebackers are going to have to be physical with our running backs. So if these guys stay healthy, you got a Tyler Algier, you got a Bijan Robinson, both of those guys will be able to kind of wear down those safeties, wear down those linebackers, wear down those defensive linemen. This Falcons offense is going to be something special. And like I said, another thing about those safeties and corners, one thing, again, what we saw, they didn't respect them. They did not respect the quarterback's ability to read the defense, but they didn't respect the quarterback to make the right decision. And I think that's the thing with this Atlanta Falcons offense that we're getting with a guy like Kirk Cousins, is that he's going to be able to make the right decision. He's going to be able to make the right read. He's going to be able to make the right audible. He's going to be able to make the right call. He's going to be able to see things before they happen. He's going to be able to get the Falcons out of certain things if the play isn't right. This is what the Falcons are going to have to, this is what they're going to have at their disposal, because, again, these safeties knew what Arthur and Dave Ragone was going to do. This is why in that Tampa Bay game where you saw the guy, he ended up literally almost took it to the house on a pick 6. And that happened so many times because, one, you had a young quarterback. He hasn't seen a lot of defenses, so he's not looking at how the safety or the linebacker or the corner is slowly inching up forth to bite on those short routes. A quarterback has to see the little subtle movements and the body language of these players. This is what Kirk Cousins can bring to this team. This is what the Atlanta Falcons can do. So the safeties and corners, they're not going to be able to sit on routes. The Falcons it's going to force teams to play a bit off and off coverage, which is going to open up their running game, and it's going to open up a lot more plays for our tight end, Kyle Pitts. So I think when you look at this Atlanta Falcons team and look at this Atlanta Falcons offense, having a guy like Kirk Cousins and his ability to see things before they happen, make the right decision, even if the offensive play isn't the best one, Kirk Cousins will be able to get us out of certain looks and get us into something better. Or just make the right decision to say, all right, I don't like this pass play. We don't look good right now. Our wide receivers are slipping all over the place. How can I pump fake and buy a little extra time? How can I get rid of the ball quick enough before the blitz comes? These are the things that you have to understand as a quarterback. So it's not, a lot of times it has nothing to do with, it doesn't have a lot to do with the quarterback's inability to make certain things. It's those smaller intricate details of football that we always talk about, being able to get out of a look, see it, or make the right call. Sometimes the quarterback, he can win a game with just his brain. He see a guy coming. This is one of the things that make Patrick Mahomes so special. It's not the fact that a lot of teams don't he doesn't get hit. It's not like that he doesn't make bad throws. A lot of time he make dumb decisions. But what Patrick Mahomes can do is get them into a look and get them out of a look, and sometimes make the right call. It's like they sending the blitz. So instead of him, holding the ball and heaving the ball 15 yards downfield, he'll hold on to the ball for an extra second, take that hit, and wait for his wide receiver running back a tight end to get open. It's those small things like that what helps a team win championships, and having a quarterback that understands that sometimes I know I'm going to get hit, but I need to hold on to this ball for a half a second longer. Or I need to stand in the pocket, take that hit, and get smoked, and, risk having some broken ribs. These are the things that winning quarterbacks understand, and this is what make Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys, this is what they do well. It's the small things in football that helps teams become great. And this is what causes defensive coordinators to think twice about blitzing a guy. Because if you blitz Aaron Rodgers and you miss, chances are it's going to be a big play or even a touchdown. If you send a blitz and you give Patrick Mahomes an extra second or two, he's going to destroy you. So these are the things that helps offenses, because the quarterback knows how to extend plays, get you out of plays, get you into plays, make the right move, know when to take a hit, know when not to take a hit, know when to get out of bounds, know when to stay inbound to get that next, then know when to get that next, be able to get that next 2 to 3 seconds. These are the things that quarterbacks know. I need to stay in. Yeah, I run a 4-4, I run a 4-6 or 5 flat as a quarterback, but I don't care what happens at this point, we need to get this first down to ensure that we get this victory. These are the small things that help win championships. A lot of times it comes down to intelligence, awareness, making the right football play. This is what Raheem Morris says all the time, is making the right football decision and making the right football move and making the right football play. These are the things that win championships. How many times have we seen in games with the Atlanta Falcons when a DB end up holding the guy at the absolute worst possible time, or getting a penalty, slapping the guy in the helmet at the worst possible time? These are the things that win and loses games. So when you have a veteran and you have guys that's been there and they've done that, This is what helped builds character. This is what helped builds championships. This is what creates winners. So again, with the Atlanta Falcons, man, the Atlanta Falcons with Kyle Pitts, a healthy Kyle Pitts with his abilities, his skill set, this dude is a match-up problem. There was a reason why he went number 4 overall. This is a reason why a lot of people, wanted him over quarterbacks, because he's a match-up problem. There's not a lot of positions in the league that we can say that can guard a Kyle Pitts. Safeties going to have a problem with it because they're not fast enough. Some of them might not even be big enough. Cornerbacks are too small for them, and some corners may be too slow for them. And then you got linebackers. Linebackers are way too slow for them. Yeah, you physical. You can get physical with Kyle Pitts. But what if you can't touch him? If you can't touch Kyle Pitts, what good is it? So this is why Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, is going to be the reason why the Atlanta Falcons have the #1 offense and a top 3 offense in the league. He's a match-up problem. He's a freaking nightmare. And now that you have a quarterback at Kirk Cousins' experience, the Falcons are going to be a problem. This Falcons offense is going to be a problem. These guys stay healthy. This offensive line continue to improve. Guys like Matthew Bergeron, who I think is poised to be an absolute Pro Bowler. And then you got a guy like Drew Dahlman, who's he's gotten bigger in the offseason. He's one of the better pass protecting centers in the league. Arguably a top 5 center in the league. And then Chris Lindstrom, look, in my opinion, I think he's the best offensive guard in the league. I don't think there's no one even on his level. I think he's the best guy. I think he's the best guard in the league. And then you got Caleb Maggiet, who people just disrespect him. Just like it's sad when I see how much Caleb Maggiet get disrespected. Because a lot of times when we see our big plays, especially in the run game, it often comes off of that right side. With Drew Dahlman, Chris Lindstrom, and Caleb Maggiet. Those guys are the leaders when it comes down to this running game a lot of the time. And yet we continue to just focus, oh, he got beat by a speed rusher. Look, everybody ain't going to be perfect. We know Jake Matthews struggle at times. He get penalties at the worst time, but nobody shits on him for 20 years because he gets penalties at the worst time. Why? Because we know Jake Matthews is going to make it up. And this is the same thing with Caleb Maggiet. We know for a fact, even if he does get beat on one play, this dude is going to knock your ass the fuck out. He's going to knock you out. He's a physical specimen. He wants to be in Atlanta. He wants to play with these guys. This is a brotherhood. So when it all comes down to it, we got to start with the disrespect when the Caleb Maggiet. So if you guys enjoyed this video, continue to support your boy here at Madmike Sports, Atlanta Falcons Nation, Madmike Network. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys enjoy these types of videos where I, break down what the Atlanta Falcons offense could be. Ask Madmike segment. This has been another episode of Unleashed. I'm out of here. Peace.